Hello everyone, welcome back to Aboderie. If you're new here, my name is Ines and I love to share all things sustainable parenting and handmade home. Today we are talking about cloth nappies again because here in the UK it is Reusable Nappy Week. So a whole week dedicated to learning about cloth nappies, sharing the cloth love. And I thought it would be helpful for those of you who are new to cloth nappies to talk through 10 things that I wish I knew when I started using cloth nappies. I've been using them now for nearly 4 years. 4 years. A long time. So I've used cloth nappies on all 3 of my children. With my oldest I started when he was 6 months old, and then with my second and third I've used them from birth. So I've got plenty of experience to share with you all, and hopefully I can give you some tips that save you some time and energy that I wish that I had been able to save when I was starting out. So without further ado, let's get into the list. The first thing I wish I knew was to use a nappy library or hire scheme to hire out nappies to try. I will admit I did actually know these existed when I first started out. Unfortunately, my local nappy library was closed for a short while, but I wish I had been able to use them because they are absolutely fantastic. If you don't know what they are, basically a nappy library will hire out kits of nappies for you to try out. So you'll have a whole different range of nappies to try, things that you might have wanted to try, things that you maybe had never heard of. So by trying lots of different nappies, you're going to get a really good idea of what you want from your nappies, the kind of brands that you like, and possibly even what you're going to go on to buy. There will sometimes be a small fee. It tends not to be that high, so it's not prohibitive for those who are on low budgets, and you'll get the nappies for a few weeks, usually a long enough period that you're able to try them out really well and get a good feel for what's working for you. Nappy libraries do tend to have waiting lists though, so if you're looking for something that you can get started with straight away, then I would recommend going to a retailer for your hire kit. There were a few different retailers that do hire kits. My personal favourite is Real Nappy Life because I know the lady who runs it and she is absolutely fantastic. They also have the most flexible hire scheme that I know of, so you can choose exactly what goes in your hire kit. So if you have a very specific idea of what you want to hire, then I would go to Beth at Real Nappy Life and just let her know what you want. I will leave a link to the page where you can go to hire from Beth in the description, along with a link that shows you a map of all the nappy libraries in the country. In a similar vein, the second thing that I wish I knew when I was starting out was that you don't have to have all of one brand of nappy. So when I first started out, a friend told me that Hotspots were the best nappies out there. So I went onto Facebook Marketplace and I bought a set of 20 pre-loved Hotspots nappies, and I just went with it. And they did work for us for a while, but when I started to try more nappies out, I realised that I could use different nappies in different situations. So I figured out, for example, that the Hotspots nappies were great on the go, but when I was at home, sometimes I wanted something more reliable, or particularly something that was quicker drying, because we were at the time living in quite a small flat. If you've hired out a kit like I mentioned in the previous section, then this will probably give you a really good idea of the different types of nappies that you like, and you'll be able to work out exactly which ones work for each situation. Tip number 3 that I wish I knew when I started out was that birth to potty doesn't mean birth to potty. So if you don't know, birth to potty is a phrase that's used to describe one size nappies. So lots of nappies are one size and they're designed to fit roughly from birth all the way through to potty training. The problem with this is that all different babies are different sizes, and you can't really make a nappy work as well at birth as it will do once a child is reaching potty training age. So in reality, lots of birth to potty nappies will tend not to fit newborns, especially if you tend to have babies that are kind of average to small rather than larger babies. So my babies that I've used cloth nappies on from birth, my second and third, were about £6.8 and £7.1, which is about 2.8 kilos and 3.2 kilos. So not particularly small, but nevertheless they didn't fit birth to potty nappies at birth. So we did use newborn nappies, and I have a whole video about newborn nappies if you would like to check it out. But you may find that you need to wait for your baby to fit your birth to potty nappies. Now, if you're new to cloth nappies and perhaps this is your first baby, then in a sense that might not be a bad thing. So you'll probably find that you're overwhelmed with having a new baby, let alone trying to work cloth nappies around that. So perhaps you could just use disposables up until your baby fits your one size nappies, and then you'll be away. The fourth thing I wish I knew when I started out with cloth nappies is that all-in-one nappies aren't necessarily the easy option. When I was researching cloth nappies, I was convinced that I just wanted an all-in-one nappy because I didn't want a lot of faff. I didn't want to have to learn how to fold complicated flat nappies. I just wanted something easy. So I assumed that meant I should go for an all-in-one nappy because it seemed like the easiest. However, like I mentioned early on, we started out with a big pack of Tots all-in-one nappies, and they were wonderful. There were lots of good things about them, but they were slow to dry. They weren't always super reliable because they weren't particularly absorbent, and there were other nappies out there that I ended up trying that worked better for us. I wouldn't necessarily assume that just because an all-in-one nappy seems easy that it's likely to be the easiest. They tend not to be as absorbent as some of the other kinds of nappy out there. And when a nappy's not reliable, it just isn't easy because you're having to faff about with changing lots of clothes and working out how to make the nappy work. So I would try to put aside the idea that all-in-ones are easy and think about the whole range of nappies that are out there with an open mind. On the flip side, for tip number 5, I wish I knew that flats weren't as hard as I thought they were. Flat nappies are basically just big squares of fabric that you fold and wrap around your baby. Pretty similar to terry nappies that your parents or grandparents might have used on their children way back in the day. And there is a reason that those nappies have stuck around for decades, and that is because they really are super simple. Obviously, there is a little bit of a learning curve to get the hang of folding the nappy and fastening it on correctly and that sort of thing. But once you've got the hang of it, there's so many good things about flat nappies. They're really quick drying, they're super affordable, and they last forever. And some people I know have terries from 20 years ago that were used on them that they are now using on their own children because they're so hard wearing and they last so well. So don't write off flat nappies straight away just because they seem difficult. Tip number 6 is all about how to deal with the poo on your cloth nappies. Now, if you've got a newborn and your baby isn't weaned yet, then you might not know that you can just put the poo in the washing machine along with everything else because it's water soluble. However, once your baby has started weaning, then you do need to make sure that you're getting the solids off into the toilet. And without a doubt, my favourite way to do that, well, maybe favourite is the wrong word, but the easiest way to do that is to get a bidet attachment for your toilet. I have found out of all the methods for removing poo, the easiest is just to have some way to spray it off into the toilet bowl. So if your shower head reaches to the toilet, then that will work great, but for lots of people that doesn't happen, in which case look up bidet attachments that can either attach onto the flush mechanism of your toilet or else can be plumbed in behind the toilet. They're just the best way, the cleanest way, the quickest way to rinse off your cloth nappies if they're dirty. So I would definitely recommend looking into that. If you can't make a bidet attachment work, then the next best thing is to use one of these garden sprayers. They have really high pressure, so they're great for just spraying off any solids. And obviously you don't then have to go through the faff of getting something plumbed in. Tip number 7 is probably the biggest thing that I wish I'd known when I was starting out, and that is to make sure that you're using enough detergent in your washing machine when you're washing your cloth nappies. When I first started out, there was a myth going round that you could get detergent buildup in your nappies if you used the full dosage amount that the company recommends. However, as time's gone on, that myth has gradually been dispelled, and it is now generally known that you should use the full dose of detergent as specified on the packet of the brand that you're using. I can't stress enough how important this is. It will make such a difference. If you're struggling with smelly nappies, then almost certainly it's because you're not using enough detergent. You need to actually measure out the amount that's on the packet, and you might be surprised by how much it is. So for my area where there's hard water and for heavily soiled nappies, I think I need about 200 mils of detergent, which is about 3.5 scoops of powder, and it nearly fills the section in my washing machine drawer. You might be surprised, but you do really need that much detergent because obviously nappies are super dirty and we want to get them really, really clean. So definitely make sure you're using enough detergent. Tip number 8 is to get one of these. This is a Octopus. Well, I don't know if that's what other people call it, but I call it a Octopus, and it's basically just a contraption with lots of different pegs on. The reason I would suggest getting one of these is that it makes drying your nappy inserts and liners so easy. You just clip them all up onto the different pegs and they get lots of air around them and they dry really quickly, and it's much quicker than having to peg lots and lots of individual inserts to the line or to the drying rack. So definitely get a Octopus. Tip number 9 is all about stains. I get so many questions about stains with people worrying about how to get rid of them. Honestly, they are mainly a cosmetic issue. If your nappies are otherwise looking clean and smelling clean, then stains aren't a problem. Like I say, they're just cosmetic. But lots of people do want to get rid of them. I like to get rid of them. And the number one best way to do that is to put them outside in the sun. I didn't believe this when I first started out. I thought it was like an old wives' tale, but it really does work. So even if it's not a super sunny day, even if it's winter, sunshine will get rid of those stains in no time at all. If you don't have a garden, then you can also put your nappies next to the window on the windowsill, and that will do just the same job. It might take a little bit more time, but it will still work. So definitely sunlight for stains. And the final thing that I wish I knew when I started out using cloth nappies is that I don't have to do it full time. When I first started, I put an awful lot of pressure on myself to make sure that I was only using cloth nappies and really sticking with it. And those are really valiant efforts, but they're a really quick way to burn out as well. So when I went through periods of having postnatal depression, or times when we were moving house, or perhaps having a particularly busy period at work, it made sense to use disposables for a short time, and I think that is totally sensible. If you think about it, it's much better to use one cloth nappy a day for the 2 years that your child is in nappies than to do it perfectly for a couple of months and then just completely burn out and never want to do it again. So sustainability is the name of the game, and it's definitely okay to take a break or to reduce down to part-time in a way that suits you and your lifestyle. If you would like more cloth nappy tips from me, then do follow me over on Instagram. I will leave my link here, and I will also put a link in the description box to the Reusable Nappy Week Instagram account in case you would like to check out more information, giveaways, tips from the official Reusable Nappy Week account. Otherwise, I think I will see you all next time. Bye!